Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Sri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. So, yes, Sri Radhe Hari Mataji, when you are ready, you can start, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Prabhuji, would you share the screen for 6, 12, 13, 23?
Yes, Mataji. Krishna will Prabhu sharing.
Yeah, I'm sharing.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chevam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayudirate Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhakti Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. Today's reading, translation only, continue from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Prescribed Duty for Mankind, Chapter 12, Vatrasura Glories Death, Bhagavatam 6.12, verses 13 to 23. Text 13. Just as a person not inclined to die must nonetheless give up his longevity, opulence, fame, and everything else at the same time, at the time of that, so at the appointed time of victory, one can gain all these when the Supreme Lord awards them by his mercy. Text 14. Since everything is dependent on the supreme will of the personality of Godhead, one should be equiposed in fame and defame, victory and defeat, life and death. In their effects represented as happiness and distress, one should maintain oneself in equilibrium without anxiety. Text 15. One who knows that the three qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are not qualities of the soul but qualities of material nature, and who knows that the pure soul is simply an observer of the actions and reactions of these qualities, should be understood to be a liberated person. He is not bound by these qualities. Text 16. O my enemy, just look at me. I have already been defeated. For my weapon and have been cut to pieces. You have already overwhelmed me, but nonetheless, with a desire to kill you, I am trying my best to fight. I am not at all morose, even under such adverse conditions. Therefore, you should give up your moroseness and continue fighting. Text 17. O my enemy, consider this battle a gambling match in which our lives are the stakes. The arrows are the dice, and the animals acting as carriers are the game board. No one can understand who will be defeated and who will be victorious. It all depends on providence. Text 18. Shukdev Goswami said, hearing the straightforward instructive words of Vitrasur, King Indra praised him and again took the thunderbolt in his hand without bewilderment or duplicity. He then smiled and spoke to Vitrasur as follows. Text 19. Indra said, O great demon, I see by your discrimination and endurance in devotional service, despite your dangerous position, that you are a perfect devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, and friend of everyone. Text 20. You have surmounted the illusionary energy of Lord Vishnu, and because of this liberation, you have given up the demoniac mentality and have attained the position of an exalted devotee. Text 21. O Vatrasur, demons are generally conducted by the mode of passion. Therefore, what a great wonder it is that although you are a demon, you have adopted the mentality of a devotee and have fixed your mind on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudev, who is always situated in pure goodness. Text 22. A person fixed in devotional service of the Supreme Lord, Hari, the Lord of the highest sumptuousness, swims in the ocean of nectar. For him, What is the use of the water in small ditches? Text 23, the last text. Sri Shukdev Goswami said Vatrasur and King Indra spoke about devotional service even on the battlefield, and then, as a matter of duty, they again began fighting. My dear king, both of them were great fighters and were equally powerful. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Over to you for an overview, Prabhuji. Um, Krishna Venudas Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Sri Radhe Hari Mataji, for reading today's Bhagavatam section translations. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 12, titled Vritarasura's Glorious Death, from slokas 13 to 23. So we'll start with simple prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pachatta Deshatarani. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you all for joining for today's Bhagavatam session. And thank you all for giving this opportunity to purify myself. So we are in the section of the demigods and demons are fighting. And of course, from the demigod side, Indra is leading, and from the demon side, Vritarasura is leading. So in the last chapter, we heard how the many commanders of the demon side, so they were running away from the war, looking at the Indra's army and the way that they are fighting. And Vritarasura condemned all of them as cowards, but he stood alone with very brave and faced the demigods. And when the demigods saw that Vritarasura's attitude, so they were very afraid. And then Indra, unable to tolerate that, so he threw his club at Vritarasura, but Vritarasura was able to catch it very easily, and then again he used that club on Indra's elephant Airavata, stuck by that mace, that club. So elephant was pushed back and it fell along with Indra on top of the elephant. So like that, the fighting was going on. So then we heard Vritarasura speaking very enlightening words to Indra to fight with all force. And then in the last session, we heard how Vritarasura, after finishing speaking to Indra with many wonderful enlightening words, glorifying the Supreme Lord Krishna. So he released the trident. He started again fighting with Indra. He released this trident against Indra. And then Indra, using his thunderbolt, that Vajrayuda, which was made by the Dadichi's bones and the power of the Supreme Lord. So it broke the trident that released by the Vritarasura into pieces. Not only that, it cut off one of Vritarasura's arm. But still Vritarasura was not at all afraid or was not disappointed, but he, using his other arm, so he started to strike Indra with iron mace. So due to that strike, Indra's thunderbolt fell, that Vajrayuda fell from Indra's hand. Indra, being ashamed of this, so he was not planning to pick up the thunderbolt. But Vritarasura, knowing that using that thunderbolt he can be killed, so that he can go back home, back to Godhead. So, so he encouraged Indra to pick up that thunderbolt. And also he spoke many instructive prayers, mentioning that So Krishna is the cause of victory and defeat. Not knowing most of the conditioned living entities, they try to take the credit for the victory or defeat for themselves. But actually, we are all under the control of the Supreme Lord. Like that, so he started enlightening Indra with many wonderful instructive points, and we'll continue that today from the slokas 13 up to 23. So in the 13th sloka, we see that Vritarasura is speaking to Indra, saying that just as a person not inclined to die must nonetheless give up his longevity, opulence, fame, and everything else at the time of death. Similarly, at the appointment time of victory, one can gain all this when the Supreme Lord awards them by his mercy. So, and this is another wonderful instruction. And Prabhupada also mentions in the purport that in this material world, conditioned living entity, no one wants to die, or no one wants to become poor, or no one wants to be ugly like that. But nonetheless, so we see that people who are born in this material world, they are at some point they have to give up the body. Or sometimes we see that people, many of them or some of them might be born as a poor, or maybe even if they are born as a rich, in due course of time they probably lose all their opulence like that. And some of them might be born as not beautiful like that. So then Prabhupada says that brings up the question, why does the living entity against his will receive such unwanted troubles? And here we see that it's because of the Supreme Lord's, either it could be chastisement or mercy. But both of them, actually, it's mercy of the Supreme Lord. So based on that, one may gain or lose in this material world. So that's why Prabhupada stresses that one should not be puffed up. If he receives a great opulence, or he becomes a great leader in the society, or he acquires a great name and fame, or he was born as a beautiful, or receives a great education. So looking at those things, one should not become puffed up, because it's all awarded by the mercy of Krishna. And Prabhupada mentioned that no one is independent. So everyone is dependent on the either mercy of the Supreme Lord or chastisement of the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada also quotes a Bengal proverb saying that Lord has 10 hands. So with the 10 hands, he is controlling all the 8 directions, and also up and down, so upwards and downwards. So he's controlling, which means that he's controlling everywhere and everything. So if he wants to take everything from us with his 10 hands, so we cannot protect anything with our 2 hands. So similarly, if he wants to bestow to us anything with his 10 hands, actually we cannot hold them also with our 2 hands. So that means that he can benedict, or he can give more than what we expect. So that's why Prabhupada stresses that so either in opulence or in distress, we are not independent. We are always dependent on the Supreme Lord's either mercy or the chastisement. And that brings up the next sloka, saying that Vritarasura is saying that since everything is dependent on the supreme will of the Supreme Lord, so one should be occupied, whether in fame or defame, or victory or defeat, or life and death. So in their effect, represented as happiness and distress, one should maintain oneself in equilibrium without anxiety. So this one who does like this is dear to Krishna. And these are the qualities that makes one to be dear to Krishna. So Krishna also mentions in Bhagavad Gita, saying that Sama Satru Cha Mitrecha Tata Mana Apamana. So like that, Sitoshna Sukha Dukkheshu. Sama Sangha Vivajita, like that he says that, one who is equal to friends or enemies, or who is occupied in fame or defame, or honor or dishonor. Similarly, who is occupied in distress and happiness. like that, So those are all the great qualities. So which makes dear to Krishna, of course, one who is engaged in devotional service. So along with these qualities, so they are very dear to Krishna. So this is something that as a practicing devotee should try to maintain that. So in the text 15, Vritrasura is mentioning that the three qualities in this material world, like sattva, rajo, tamo guna, mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So they are not qualities of the pure spirit soul. They are the qualities of material nature. So I say that who knows that pure soul is simply an observer of the actions and reactions of these qualities should be understood to be a liberated person and is not bound by these qualities. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport that a self-realized person, so he understands that so whatever is happening during his lifetime is due to the contamination of these three modes, the sattva, raja, tamo guna. Because the living being who is a pure spirit soul has nothing to do with these three modes. So because the spirit soul is very pure. So that's why understanding like that, the pure devotee or self-realized person, so he will not be lamenting or desire anything in this material world. So nasochati na kankshati. So Prabhupada quotes that Bhagavad Gita sloka. So Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma nasochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim lavate param. Like, he doesn't desire anything in this material world, or he doesn't lament anything. So if he loses some material things, he will not lament. At the same time, if he gets something, he will not be puffed up. So he is equally disposed to every living entity. And such a person, to be understood, that is liberated from these three material modes, sattva, rajo, tamo guna. And such a person actually fixed in Krishna consciousness, and he is undisturbed by the actions and reactions of the material energy. So that's what we see here in the Vritrasura's pastime. Like, Vritrasura is not undisturbed. And that kind of liberated person is always jubilant, happy. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha, like, he is always in great blissful. In the text 16, Vritrasura is saying that to Indra that I have already been defeated. So my weapon and armor both are cut to pieces. So you have already overwhelmed me, but nonetheless, with a desire to kill you, I am trying my best to fight. I am not at all morose even under such adverse conditions. So therefore, you should give up your moroseness and continue fighting. This is another encouragement that Vritrasura is telling to Indra. That, and Prabhupada also mentions in the purport that so Vritrasura is so great and powerful that he is acting as a spiritual master to Indra. So he's giving all these enlightening instructions to Indra. And although we see that, Vritrasura is on the verge of the defeat, but he is not at all affected. So not at all morose, even under such adverse conditions. And he knew that he is going to be defeated, and he voluntarily accepted also. But still, he is trying his best to fight Indra, because he is supposed to be Indra's enemy. So he's trying his best to fight against Indra or kill Indra, because that's a duty of Vritrasura. So as Prabhupada says that one should perform his duty under all circumstances. And that's why, because Vritrasura is giving this kind of wonderful instructions, so he can be called as a divine demon. So, of course, we will hear more about Vritrasura's past life, how he can be able to speak like this, because in his past life, he is a great devotee, Chitragit Maharaj. And another thing, as a practicing devotee, we see that, he's trying how Vritrasura is trying best to fight with Indra. So even similarly, all the practicing devotees, we're also in the war. So war with whom? So against Maya. So to come out from the illusion and surrender at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So that then we can go back home, back to God. Of course, fighting with Maya or conquering Maya is not something very easy. So Krishna also mentions in Bhagavad Gita, Mama Maya Duratyaya, Daivihe Shagunamayi, Mama Maya Duratyaya. Like, this divine energy of Krishna, which is um, endowed with these three modes, Sattva, Raja, Tamo Guna. So it's not very easy to cross. It's difficult to overcome. So that's why so we need to fight as best as we can with strong determination. Of course, I'm talking to myself. So while fighting, how a soldier probably been wounded, like here we see that Vritrasura's one arm is cut, but still he is fighting as best as he can. So similarly, Maya might be giving so many challenges or troubles, temptations with many sense gratification options in front of us. So we should be very cautious, and of course, even we should try not to be entangled to those things as best as we can. And even if we are attacked by those sense gratification, we should quickly overcome or come back with the strong sadhana and being in the good devotee association, so that we can be back with full force and fight against Maya. So because in our day-to-day life, we have to meet many people who are indulged in sense gratification, or we might be seeing something that is not favorable or conducive for our progress in the path of bhakti. So that's why every day, Nityam Bhagavatasya, every day in the morning, our morning time should be used for quality chanting, so that this powerful chanting will act as an armor for us to fight from when we go out from the unfavorable things for a devotional progress, and it will protect us from not falling down from the path of bhakti. So it's like a mongoose fighting with a snake. Like whenever mongoose want to fight with a snake, first it will eat that some herbal leaves, which will save us from the poisonous attack of snake. Because when mongoose fights with snake, so it is expected that the snake bites, then the snake's poison will enter into the mongoose body. So to attack that or to protect from that poisonous things, mongoose will eat herbal leaves, so that it will not die due to that poisonous snake bite. So similarly, we also, I'm talking to myself, if we do the strong sadhana, chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra sincerely and seriously, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, then Krishna will help us in winning this war against Maya, and we'll get support from Krishna. So then we can be able to overcome from the Maya's illusion. So that's what Krishna also mentions in Bhagavad Gita. Mama eve prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. So whoever surrendered to me, so they can easily cross beyond this material nature. So if Krishna is pleased with our sincere endeavor, so even though we are not very powerful, strong enough to fight against Maya, but Krishna will help us, and Krishna will give us energy, strength to cross over this ocean of material world. How he will help us? So he will make that ocean of material world into the size of a small lake or pond, which is the size of the calf's hoof print. Bhavambudir Vatsapadam. So we will make it as a very small, so that we can able to easily cross over that the ocean of material world, because it has been minimized or reduced it to a small pond like that. So, but our endeavor is the with great determination. If we endeavor it, then Krishna will help us. So in the text 17, Vritrasura is mentioning to Indra that this battle is a gambling match, and our lives are at the stake, and the arrows are the dice, and the animals acting as carriers are the game board. So here we see that no one can understand who will be defeated and who will be victorious. Jaya Parajaya. So no one knows because it all depends on the Krishna's mercy or chastisement. Depends on the providence. In the text 18, now Sukadeva Goswami is saying, so hearing the straightforward instructive words of Dhritarashtra, King Indra praised him. And again he took the thunderbolt. And then he smiled and spoke to Dhritarashtra. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport that King Indra, so he was astonished to hear these kind of instructions from Dhritarashtra, because Dhritarashtra is supposed to be a demon. So he was stuck with wonder. How come a demon could speak very nicely like this? Of course, then he remembered Prahlad Maharaj, Bali Maharaj, who appeared in the demon families in the dynasty, but they were all very great devotees. So remembering like that, so here Indra smiled and then started speaking. So we can see from this that becoming a devotee is available for anyone and everyone. So they could be born in any family, but they have the option to become a great devotee. So in Ramayana also we see that the various personalities we could see that there are very great devotees like Hanumanji, Sugriv, Angada, and many monkey warriors. Though they are in the body of the monkey form, but they are great devotees of Lord Sri Ramachandra. So similarly, Jambavan is in the body of the bear, and Jatayu is in the body, and Shabari she's in the form of a woman or in the tribal caste, but she became she's a wonderful devotee of Lord Ramachandra. So similarly, Vibhishana is from the demonic dynasty, like brother of Ravanasura, but is a great devotee of Lord Ramachandra. So like that, the becoming this Krishna consciousness is available for anyone and everyone. So, so in the 19th sloka, see that Indra is started saying, so great demon, I see by your discrimination and endurance in devotional service, despite your dangerous position, you are a perfect devotee of the Supreme Lord. So the Supreme Lord is the friend of everyone. And Prabhupada quotes that, a devotee is fixed in Krishna consciousness, even though he is in a dangerous position. So Prabhupada quotes Bhagavad Gita sloka, Yam labdhva chaparam labham, manyate na adikam tataha, yasmin sthito na dukkena, guruna api vichalyate. He says that, one who is fixed in Krishna consciousness, even though he was put in a dangerous situation, is not shaken. So because he knows that this is the highest success of the human life. So nothing other than that, nothing is better like that. And we see that in the pure devotee's life, like Srila Haridas Thakur, even though he was beaten in 22 markets because he is born in a Muslim family, but chanting Hare Krishna, that the Muslim leader ordered him to beat, and then was beaten in 22 markets. But Srila Haridas Thakur did not give up this chanting because he's firmly situated, is fixed in Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada says that such a personality, the liberation is his rightful claim. So he can go back home, back to Godhead. And in the text 20, Indra is saying that you have surmounted the illusion energy of Lord Vishnu. So because of this liberation, you have given up the demonic mentality and attained the position of an exalted devotee. So it's called Mahapurushatam, like that. And Prabhupada mentions that Lord Vishnu is Mahapurusha, so that's why his devotee is called as Mahapurushaya, so exalted devotee. And this position is attained by anyone and everyone who can take up this Krishna consciousness and practice sincerely and seriously. And this can be started by serving a devotee or associating with the devotees. And Prabhupada quotes that Bhagavatam sloka, Shuddhyantya tasmai prabhavishnave namaha. Like, even the people who are born in a sinful demonic dynasties or families, Kirata, Unahandra, Pulinda, Pulkasa, like that, So these dynasties are addicted to sinful actions. But if one takes up the association of the pure devotees, so then they can go back home, back to God. So they can become a Mahapurusha, like exalted devotee. Like we see in the life of Valmiki Mahamuni. So he's a dacoit, Ratnakar, but with the association of the Narada Muni, he became a Mahapurushaya, like in a great devotee. So Murugari, like that. So in the text 21, you see that the demons are generally, they are conducted by the mode of passion. But here, what a great wonder it is that although you are a demon, you have adopted the mentality of a devotee and have fixed your mind on the Supreme Lord. So King Indra is surprised here and is saying that, demons generally, they perform activities because they are in the mode of passion. But here, Vritrasura is speaking like a pure devotee. So he's Indra is surprised because he knows that Prahalad Maharaj, so he had a initiation or he was inspired by Narada Muni, association of Narada Muni. So even though he was born in a demonic family, because of the association of Narada Muni, he became a great devotee. But in Vritrasura's case, Indra did not find anything else. So that's why he was surprised. He was wondered, how can Vritrasura be able to speak like this as if he is a pure devotee. So in text 22, you see that a person fixed in devotional service of the Supreme Lord, the Lord of the highest auspiciousness, so he swims in the ocean of nectar. So for him, what is the use of the water in small ditches? So whoever is fixed in Krishna consciousness, so they don't look for the some material benefits like going to the higher planets, upper planets, or receiving a great material opulence, wealth, name, fame, like that. Because they're fixed in Krishna consciousness and they're deriving great bliss and happiness. So all these material benefits, like elevated to the higher planetary systems or receiving a great wealth, name, fame, they are like a small ditches because they are swimming in the ocean of nectar. So they derive a great bliss. So that's what Indra is saying. So here the last sloka for today. So Sukadeva Goswami is saying that Vritrasura and King Indra spoke about devotion service even on the battlefield. Of course, then as a matter of duty, they again started fighting. And both of them are great fighters and were equally very powerful. So from the next sloka, we'll hear how the battle between Vritrasura and King Indra goes on and how Indra killed Vritrasura. So thank you all for joining. I will pause it here. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo. Hare Krishna. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.